Hi, my name is Matt Carroll with World Class Coaching and with the help of Academy Sports Coach. Today I want to talk to you about some drills that you can find here in the book Creating Chaos that I actually wrote a couple years back. This was the first book I wrote for World Class Coaching. It was a lot of ideas that I took from a season coaching at the high school that I coach at, or I used to coach at. I've since moved on to a new high school program, but we were a pretty solid team. We made deep runs into our states in New Jersey, into the sectional quarterfinals and semifinals and things like that. We kind of lacked an edge. We dropped points late, lost shootouts, things like that. Just didn't have that killer instinct. When it push came to shove, we could win games, but if it was tight, we were having a little trouble closing these out. So what we did was we used a lot of the drills you'll find in this book, Creating Chaos, and I'll include this in the comments section so you can check this out and download it for yourself. But it gave us a mental edge. It was about creating a mindset that you were executing the technical aspects of the game, the tactical aspects of the game, but doing so with a different mindset that every single touch was important, and that when things were going wrong, our players were able to react a little stronger. And a lot of it goes into different games and things like that. But the core of it that we really started with was the Rondo and making the Rondo not just, okay, hey, roll out the balls, get a circle, two guys go. About creating situations that were strenuous, mentally strenuous for the players, that it was challenging for them. They're constantly having to be on their feet and thinking, and they made a lot of mistakes. They failed and they failed and they failed. And it was about, for the coaching aspect, was about coaching them to then learn, react to that failure, deal with adversity, and then continue to play at a high level. So what we normally did was we would have our Rondo circle here and just one ball. And just playing, pass here, make it one touch. All right, make it in one touch. Just get them to bang the ball around. And then what we would do is slowly but surely we'd add a second ball. And then this player here. And the rule was that we didn't make it hey, you have to play this fast, this way. It was just, you got to play the ball. One touch. That's the only rule. And then we'd add rules as we went along. But one of the rules was if the balls hit, everyone had to do a push-up. And the point of it is, it wasn't, you're going to do 10 push-ups and you have to punish them. It was more frustration with themselves. Hey, you had to do the push-up and stop the drill. You're the guy that messed up. You took 2 touches. Okay, that was a new rule we add. All right, if you took an extra touch, that was a push-up for everybody. Everybody stops. Okay, so your actions had an effect on everyone involved. If the ball went outside the circle, 1 push-up. So we would start with just 1 touch. Then we move on to if the ball's hit. Then if the ball stopped, and then we'd add if outside the circle. The outside the circle one sometimes we wouldn't even put in, because if the ball, let's say, traveled outside the circle, you'd have a player here scrambling to run outside the circle, play a ball before it stopped dead, play it back into the circle. So sometimes we didn't go all the way to the outside of the circle because it was a little more fun that way. And it created that, oh no, you need to get to that ball, playing under pressure kind of mentality. So as we went along, now you got 2 balls, we'd add 3 balls, we'd go up to maybe 4 balls. Okay. You got 4 balls being pinged around. The new rule that we'd add as we added more balls was if someone received a pass that received 2 passes at the same time, that was another push-up that they had to do. Everyone stopped, did a push-up. The reason being we really focused on was scanning the field, being aware. The guy would get the pass, he'd blindly play to another guy, as he would normally do in a Rondo, receive on his back foot and play it. Well, now you're receiving your back foot, you did everything technically right, but within the context of the game, this ball, this guy's got a ball, it's coming to him, you play him at the same time. Well, that's no good, right? He's got something to already deal with. He's actually not in a great position to receive this ball because he's already dealing with another ball. So you had to be aware of so many different things all at once. The balls are flying around, 1 touch. You have to be technically really good to receive this pass, 1 touch, open up your hips and play it somewhere else. But it had to be in the right context. So there's a million different things going on. And it was very, very distracting. Something we would then add maybe later on, as we kind of got better with it, was we would have music on. And we would just blare a speaker. All right. And sometimes even the coaches would jump in terms of the way we would communicate with them. Sometimes we'd be frustrated. Sometimes we'd be really, really positive, and we would change our demeanor. One coach is playing good cop, one coach is playing bad cop. And it was just to try to create as many different mental situations in a very small time period as humanly possible. So, the kids are doing really, poorly, and, we're kind of really positive, and then all of a sudden we flip a switch and be like, this is terrible, guys. Like, you're not even trying. Like, this is awful. And just, at the end, they knew it, but they knew we were supportive of them. They knew we were trying to get them to do what they needed to do. But hearing that in the moment was very frustrating. It would kind of get their dander up, and they would get frustrated. Yeah, you're frustrated, but can you still execute? So when things kind of went wrong in the game, our players were kind of like, yeah, well, we've been here before, And the thing with the music was we would play it very loud. We play something like, death metal or something like that, very, very loud. And then we'd switch to like Jimmy Buffett's Cheeseburger in Paradise. And we'd slow it up and recreate different tempos. So could you still execute all of these different things at the tempo needed? Hey, maybe you need to play a soft little pass to the guy next to you. But the music's blaring and your energy's amped up and it's amping you up, and you fire that pass and it goes past the guy, and now everyone has to do a push-up. So it's about keeping your calm and your control and executing your technical ability the way you're supposed to do it, to the right position, to the right player at the right time, all kind of pushing out these outside factors. So we would then go from there with all these balls flying around. We would do some outside things. You got fans yelling. You got the parents coaching on the outside. Maybe the referee's frustrating you. All these different things, these outside things. Your girlfriend's at the game, whatever. So we bring in outside stuff that you kind of didn't really relate to what you're trying to do. Was pass it to a guy that's open, but you had to kind of deal with. So we'd have a cone or a tennis ball, and the cone had to be passed around the outside. And, we keep it close enough so the kids weren't like frisbeeing at 50 feet away, but you had to play the cone to the guy. If the cone dropped, everyone did a push up. And then another rule was if the player with the cone, so he had the cone, if the player with the cone received a pass like this, came right here, bang, everyone will have to do a push up. So again, you're looking and scanning for A, the multiple balls, A, where was this ball coming to me, and B, who's got the cone. And what this really facilitated was, yes, physical motion of scanning the field, technical ability, awareness, but also the communication. Players were constantly talking about what needed to be done. So where we went from there was eventually what the guys did was they communicated so well. We got, after a season or two of doing this, the players realized, hey, here's what we need to do. We need to communicate patterns within the game. And they would find, hey, these three players pass to each other. These three players pass to each other. These guys once in a while kind of, pinging in here and there. And they figured it out. So we had to up the ante. So we made it so you couldn't pass to the guy next to you. And then they kind of figured that out. So what we did was then we made it these coaching sticks, and it had to break two windows every single time you made a pass. So it had to, not that one. It had to go through two windows. So a pass here would have to break this window and this window. Okay, so you couldn't play it here. You couldn't play it here, right? It had to break a window. So you could go through here and play to him. You could go through here. If he took his touch outside, or he drew it outside, he could play a pass through here. But it had to break two of these windows, and that forced it so it couldn't be just these short little tiny passes in a little pattern. And that kind of again was like, okay, you figured it out. Now we're gonna make it harder. And so there's a million different things you can do, but the whole concept behind it is just making it as complicated and as distracting as possible. When in reality, you're trying to do a simple action of a one-touch pass. There's no pressure on. You can play at any weight, at any time to any player, but there's a million different things trying to distract you from doing that. Now, the next game we found that we really, really enjoyed was what we called the breakout rondo. And it kind of took a different name, a more expletive-laden name, because of how frustrating it would be for players. And again, that's kind of the concept here is we want them to become frustrated, become comfortable being frustrated, and learn how to deal with that frustration. So you see here what I've got is behind every player is another player that's standing. You can have cones. You can make it 5-10 feet behind or whatever you want to do. But you'd have somebody behind the player. And then what we would do is we'd have two guys, let's say, in the middle. So you're playing a normal with one ball. You're playing a normal rondo. These guys trying to keep possession, no real rules or anything like that. Just keep possession against these two guys. And what we're looking for is that moment of transition with a lot of chaos. So you would have regular rondo, kind of looks normal, nothing really out of the ordinary. But as soon as this player over here plays this pass to the yellow player, that's when all hell would break loose. Because what you need to do as a black player is to instantly get compact, put pressure on this guy, and win this ball back. Because if he wins the ball, it's not this guy who lost the ball that has to go in the middle. It's the guy whose player or defensive player behind them gets the ball that then has to go in the middle. So this led to a lot of comments about, hey, you should have gotten there, or laziness and things like that. It became a very frustrating game for players, and again, creating that frustration is really important. So let's say he plays it to him. They go to pressure. This guy doesn't really pressure quick enough, right? And he's able to play a ball here. This guy runs into it. This guy then would have to go into the middle. And what that does is these players instantly realize, if I give them time and space, right, I'm going to be kind of caught in the middle here, and this player can move into the windows between us. So instantly they're getting compact. Yellow's looking for channels. They have the width already. They're looking for channels to find a pass into. They're getting compact, but they're recognizing where the other player is. So they're checking their shoulder. They're recognizing where their shape is. Should I press? Should I drop off? What is the best option here? But you're getting quick transition moments, and you're getting it chaotic because you don't want to be the guy in the middle. So that was one really exciting drill that we enjoyed. And again, it was kind of like we had a lot of the pieces. We had some really great players. We had a kid that scored 25 goals in a season, but we were missing that edge. And bringing these sessions in, you can do all these. You can do one for 5 minutes, every single day. But getting consistently and challenging the players mentally, not just in terms of tactically problem solving, technically, your technical ability, but getting them to really kind of focus on real life situations of, hey, you're under pressure. Not just, there's a defender on you, but there's fans in the stands. This is a game for the division. This is a overtime game. If the players feel comfortable being uncomfortable, they're going to perform in those moments. So my question for you guys that you can leave in the comments section would be, how do you create chaos within your sessions? So once again, my name is Matt Carroll with World Class Coaching, the Help Academy Sports Coach, and the book Creating Chaos, which was I'll leave in the comments. You're available for you guys to download. I hope this session finds you well.